along. I'm back with you, East Alabama and West Georgia from the Dr. Don Weather Center. Coming up on 5:16 Central, 6:16 Eastern on your Saturday afternoon, July 9th, 2022. We're watching heavy thunderstorms move across Alabama and about to move into East Alabama. If you're in Talladega County, you're already dealing with them. And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service in Birmingham. We'll take you down here and show you this particular storm that is warned for, and it's going to be this area just north of Sylacauga. There in southern Talladega County from Childersburg all the way over to the Clay County line. We have a severe thunderstorm that has been warned for that stretches up to around Winterboro, right down Highway 21, and then pretty much to the east of 231 now. So what is that, 76 that runs from Childersburg back over to Winterboro, over to 21 and just north of Sylacauga is where the heaviest of this storm is at the moment. Bon Air catching the brunt of this at this moment as well. And everywhere that you see those pinks and blues that are flashing, those are the areas where there could be some hail taking place. The radar, at least, says that there's a 100% chance that we have hail here and only a 10% chance that it is severe hail. Now, the threshold for severe hail is 3/4 of an inch in diameter, or 1 inch in diameter or higher. Radar is telling us that this hail is at about 3/4 of an inch. But torrential rainfall, no doubt, there on Highway 21 stretching back over to 280. And this is going to be moving on to the east-southeast and most likely will end up some time zone here, and we're looking at down here in extreme, right along the Clay County, Talladega County line by 6:03. So this is a slow-moving storm, and that's why there is a increased risk of flash flooding with these storms this afternoon because they're moving awfully slow. So the core of the storm, it would take it till about 6:03 before it gets into this area. Now, it's obviously going to start impacting portions of southeast Clay County before that time. Places like Hollins, Brownsville, Millerville, back up toward Gunthertown, and maybe even Ashland within the next 30 to 45 minutes. I think the bulk of this part of the storm, though, stays down here in extreme southwestern Clay County. So even you folks up here in northeastern Coosa, up around Goodwater, maybe northwestern Tallapoosa, Hackneyville, over to Goldville, Mountain Community up in Clay County, back over toward Millerville, certainly need to pay attention to this storm. But again, it's a severe thunderstorm warning now for southern southeastern Talladega County. That's the only warning that we have at the moment out of these storms. Zoom out and show you the big picture. Just a big cluster of showers and thunderstorms now from Childersburg all the way over to the Clay County line, stretching back up toward Mount Cheahaw, Anniston, Oxford, back up toward Gadsden, and then back over to around Odenville, Trussville, up to around I-59 there north of Birmingham. And then looking further back off to the west, another big area of thunderstorms across northwest Alabama stretching back into Mississippi. Again, in that frame that you're looking at right there, we have had 1,222 lightning strikes in the last 2 to 3 minutes. So that is pretty significant. Rest of East Alabama and West Georgia, our county is covered there in the outlined in red. Nothing as far as severe thunderstorm warnings are concerned. And really no precipitation taking place other than some light showers up there in extreme northwest Randolph. Rest of Randolph County is dry at the moment. Coosa County, Tallapoosa, Chambers, back over into Lee County, nothing happening right now. And then our West Georgia counties are all dry as well. That green outline down there in southern Troup and northern Harris is a flash flood warning that was issued earlier today, back up around noontime, for that deluge that they got down there at West Point, and that flash flood warning will expire in about 23 minutes. Yeah, this is going to be an extended event. It's not going to storm the entire time, but these are very slow-moving storms, so it's going to take a minute to get all this done. So, yes, this could be a multi-hour event into at least 9, 10, 11 o'clock this evening, if not a little bit longer than that. And folks asking questions, what about this town? What about that town? If you have not already received rain and you're in East Alabama or West Georgia, you're going to. All of this is moving to the east. So it is going to move across East Alabama. And we're beginning to see, too, that we have storms trying to get going over here in Chilton County. We've got an outflow boundary going back to the west across Chilton County. And then we're seeing more storms fire up a little bit further to the south, just west of Birmingham, and then back over here in West Alabama as well. So this initial push of storms could potentially stay north of the I-85 corridor, maybe a little bit further north than that. But eventually, I think we're going to see this area back over here in West Alabama fill in, and we're going to start to see showers and thunderstorms that will encompass the entire East Alabama and West Georgia area. Hey, Phyllis Taylor in Wadley. Terry Gray watching us in Lynette. Thundering at Mossback Ridge in Cleburne County, just outside of Ranburne Valley, Alabama. Hey, Emily. Yeah, the leading edge of that activity up there around Anniston and Oxford, moving across the Calhoun-Cleburne County line. So that's about to move on into Cleburne County. So we would expect showers and thunderstorms there. Northern Clay, southern Cleburne, northern Randolph in the next 20 minutes or so. The part of the thunderstorm that's being warned for in Talladega is that part of the storm down there in the extreme southern part of the county. And that's going to move into southwestern Clay and continue moving to the southeast, probably right across the Millerville and Mountain community areas of southern Clay, and then into northern Tallapoosa County, back over toward Daviston, most likely. So as far as Randolph is concerned, that severe part of the storm may clip the southwestern corner of Randolph. So you folks down there in Wadley need to pay attention to that one. But it's a slow mover, so we're looking at least another hour before it gets over there into Randolph County. So if you're just joining us, we're here because of that severe thunderstorm warning. That's our threshold. We typically do not do wall-to-wall coverage until we get a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning. In this particular case, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch. It's in effect for a large portion of west and central Alabama, and a couple of counties of East Alabama. Coosa and Talladega County are also covered under this severe thunderstorm watch. And we have one severe thunderstorm warning. that has been issued for southern Talladega County. If you go back up and look at this thunderstorm complex coming out of Mississippi into Alabama, we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings up here, like 5 or 6. We have one severe thunderstorm warning up in North Alabama as well at this hour. But the reason we are here is going to be for this thunderstorm down here in southern Talladega County, just north of Sylacauga, moving to the east-southeast. Just checking to see if we have any reports of any damage from this storm coming through southern Talladega County. So far, I don't see anything. I do see a report of a flooded out underpass in Vincent, but no reports of any damage so far with this storm in southern Talladega County. So the Weather Service is continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Talladega. Let's see what. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 6 p.m. With the southwestern sections of Talladega County at 5:25, a severe thunderstorm was located near Sycamore or near Childersburg, moving southeast at about 10 miles per hour. So you see they're very slow moving. Hazard here is 60 mile per hour winds. No, tornadoes are not likely with these storms tonight. Could it happen? Yes, it could. Anytime you have a severe thunderstorm, anytime you have a thunderstorm, period, it doesn't even have to be severe. A thunderstorm, by definition, is a rotating storm. So anytime you have a rotating storm, you could have a tornado. But the atmosphere is not conducive for tornado formation tonight. While the chance is not zero, there's not a good chance of tornadoes either. But again, JW, asking that question, don't discount these storms just because it's not a tornado environment. Straight line winds can cause just as much damage as a small F0 or F1 tornado. So you still need to, I always tell folks to respect a severe thunderstorm warning just as though it, if the main threat is damaging straight line winds, and that's 90% of the time, then respect a severe thunderstorm warning area just as you would a tornado warning, because you can get just as much damage as a small tornado from a severe thunderstorm. Now, the hail core on this storm down in Talladega, not nearly as significant as it was earlier, though it is there, just north of Oak Grove, probably a little bit further to the right than that now, probably just north of Sylacauga. And that's the possibility of severe hail. It's at about 60%. And that is the radar estimated largest amount of hail that could possibly be contained in this thunderstorm. It's not saying that we have 1 to 2 inch hail in this storm. It's saying that the storm structure could possibly produce 1 to 2 inch sized hail. And looking at the wind shear, and here's a reason why this really isn't conducive for tornadoes. Looking at the wind shear, you'd need those blues and reds to be much tighter and not elongated. It would need to be just a very small area there. But what you see, we have very broad wind shear laterally moving away and moving toward. So that's just that's showing us that there's no tornadic activity in this particular storm. There's no gate-to-gate shear. Yeah. But there certainly could be some very strong winds along the outside edge of the storm and then along the leading edge of it as well. And it is now moving into Clay County. We'll see if they're going to extend this warning. I'll tell you, the lightning output has really dropped off on this storm. It was as high as 33 strikes within 2 to 3 minutes. That was at 5:13, so that was about 15 minutes ago. And now we're at 9 strikes in the last 2 to 3 minutes. So we've lost a good bit of the lightning. All right, so in the chat room, they're talking about what I just said. They're talking about the lightning output has really dropped off in the last few minutes. And there really hasn't been any reports of strong winds in southern Talladega County. We've got a trained weather spotter that I'm watching his comments here in the chat room, and he says that there was basically, or has been so far, no wind. That the rain is coming straight down, and the thunder frequency has also seemed to decrease, which is what we were just discussing. So those are indications that this storm is losing some of its intensity. If we back the loop up, it was pretty strong right there at about 4:41, and then watch the storm move forward. It's pretty strong right there. That was at 5:01. We actually had a little hook down there on the southern end of it, trying to get going, and then it just collapses as it moves on down towards Sylacauga, and you can see the structure now looks nothing like it did about an hour ago. So I would anticipate that they allow this warning to expire, and it's set to do so at 6 p.m. They may actually cancel this one sooner. We'll see. I mean, these things they're pulsating because they'll be strong and then they'll fade out and then they'll come right back. It's actually looking a little bit stronger back here on the south end now. Right there along 38 or 280. Watch it and see what they're going to do with it here. Special weather statement has just been issued up here on I-20 up here around Leeds. That's just north of Vincent up there along I-20. Very heavy rainfall, and that's probably going to get the northern parts of Talladega and end up over here in northern Clay. If it continues with that forward motion. But so far, it's just a special weather statement. No warnings there on that storm. Zoom back out and show you the big picture. Lots of rain up here along the I-20 corridor, and then back across northwest Alabama and back up into northern portions of Mississippi. Yeah, all of these storms are moving off to the east. So if you're over here in East Alabama, if you're anywhere in Cleburne, Randolph, Clay, especially northern Tallapoosa, northern Chambers, West Georgia, Carroll, Hurd, northern Troop, you're definitely going to get some of this stuff you see on the screen right now. Now it's questionable for southern Coosa, southern Tallapoosa, southern Chambers, Lee, southern Harris. There's a question mark there right now. But what we're seeing, let me back the radar up and I'll show you, I'll point out what I'm talking about. Now watch off to the west. They're north of Selma, northwest of Montgomery, and south of Birmingham. As I bring the radar forward, you start to see, especially in the last couple of loops, you see individual storms popping up all over the place over here. Looks like popcorn. You got an outflow boundary right there. And then you see these really small storms popping up there in Chilton County, down here around Selma, especially over here in West Alabama, northwest of Demopolis. Those showers and thunderstorms are beginning to develop in very unstable atmosphere, and they're going to move off to the east as well. So if you don't get some of this stuff that's coming into East Alabama now, if you're down there closer to the I-85 corridor, then you are likely still going to get some showers and thunderstorms. It just may be a little later on before you see them. And even this stuff up in northwest Alabama and Mississippi, all that's pulling on off to the east, southeast as well. So probably a 1-2 punch for our northern counties, Cleburne, Randolph, Clay, Talladega, because you're getting what's coming in there now, and then this other stuff in northwest Alabama will come in a little later on. So on and off, it will be a stormy night across Alabama. And most likely it's going to be a rainy night in Georgia as well. So the Storm Prediction Center just issued what they call a mesoscale discussion. And what it is just the thoughts from the weather forecasters in Norman, Oklahoma on where we stand with the watch area that's in place right now. And they're telling us that the severe thunderstorm watch number 451, the severe weather threat for severe thunderstorm watch 451 continues. The potential for damaging winds and sporadic large hail continues across the area. The best near-term wind damage threat will likely reside across eastern Mississippi into central Alabama. So what this is, folks, this is a cold front that's draped across North Alabama. And and it's going to continue to slide off to the southeast. So it's going to push all this stuff into East Alabama, and eventually you folks even down here along the I-85 corridor. It may be another couple, 2 or 3 hours before you see anything down here, but eventually you're going to get it as well. Now, this area here in West Alabama and back over into Central Alabama has been relatively untapped. So these storms could get really big as they move into West Alabama and Central Alabama, and then even over here in East Alabama, where we haven't seen any rain today since this morning's storms. We could get some big thunderstorms over here as well. So the reason we're here at the moment is a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect for southern Talladega County, south of Winterboro, north of Sylacauga, and east of Childersburg, right over the northern sections of downtown Sylacauga at the moment. We do have trained weather spotters in that area. They're reporting that there hasn't been very much wind, but there is a tremendous amount of rain, so some localized street flooding is taking place. I would estimate that that's most likely taking place there north of downtown Sylacauga, up here on 21, and up here in the northern suburbs of Sylacauga. So the National Weather Service has just issued an aerial flood advisory. Flood advisory is now in effect until 7:45 p.m. this evening. For a portion of central Alabama, including the following counties: Shelby, St. Clair, and Talladega. Minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas are likely. At 5:41, Doppler radar indicated heavy rain due to thunderstorms. Minor flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly in the advised area. Between 1 and 1.5 inches of rain has already fallen. So if you are down here in especially southern Talladega County, you are now under an aerial flood advisory. Now, this is probably going to be primarily for the southern sections of the county, but they may also just go ahead and issue it for the entire county, because look at this mess up here on I-20 that's going to slip right through Talladega. That is copious amounts of rain falling up there. So I would expect the aerial flood advisory to cover the entire county. But now understand, folks, some of you haven't seen this kind of rain in Talladega County. We had some folks, I believe it was up in Cleburne County, a couple of 3 or 4 days ago. They issued an aerial flood advisory for the entire county, and folks are saying, well, we hadn't seen a drop of rain. Where's the flooding taking place? Y'all are just trying to fearmonger. That's not the case. Summertime weather is different from spring and fall. It could rain 5 inches in your front yard, and your next door neighbor won't even record a trace of rain. That's the way it works. These thunderstorms typically are not that large, so that the column of water that falls from these storms, they only affect a small area. So, and it would be almost impossible to issue polygon aerial warnings like we do for thunderstorms and tornadoes. So flood warnings typically cover the entire county. So, I mean, if a flood warning is issued for your area and you haven't received a drop of rain, be thankful. Don't try to call out the weather forecaster just because it's not flooding in your front yard. It's a good thing if it's not flooding in your front yard. So we are going to hang tight and see what happens with this severe thunderstorm warning. Understand we've been watching this come through Talladega County now for well over an hour. So you can get a good idea of how slow these storms are moving. They're only moving at about 10 miles per hour. So, I mean, we're talking... Bear with me a second. When we first started watching this storm, about Childersburg. Yeah, so that's 17 miles from Childersburg to Silicago, thereabouts. So that's about 2 hours. So if these storms continue at this pace, so it's an hour down to around Lineville, about 2 hours to Wedowee. Now you're looking at about 3 hours to Roanoke. Now, I don't think it'll take 3 hours, but I think 2 hours is certainly plausible for this line of storms to get on over into Randolph County. Again, we have a severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. It covers central and a couple of counties of East Alabama, that being Talladega and Coosa in our coverage area. The rest of East Alabama and West Georgia not under a severe thunderstorm warning at this time. Or watch, I should say. And we only have one warning that's in effect, and that's down there in southern Talladega County. I want you to look at what the Weather Service is doing here. Let me bring this current and stop it. They are issuing a special weather statement for this entire line. We're talking about from basically from Coleman to Jasper to Fayette, all the way to the Mississippi state line. Then Mississippi's issuing special weather statements for that same line from the Alabama state line all the way back into north central Mississippi. So we're talking, I really think unless we intensify even more, and that's certainly possible, I think this is going to be more of a localized flash flooding event and dangerous lightning event. And here's the problem. It's not going to just, normally a thunderstorm comes in and, 5 or 10 minutes later, it's all over with. That's not the case here, folks. When this stuff rolls in, it's going to be with you for a minute. You're going to have thunder and lightning and extremely heavy rainfall, maybe for 30 or 45 minutes or longer. And I'm talking the intense heavy rainfall and lightning. So this is a cold front, and it's a little unusual to get a cold front this time of year. I mean, we're talking middle of July. We got a cold front moving in. And that's just not something we normally talk about this time of year. I mean, it's welcome, but we're going to have to put up with the heavy storms as they move in tonight. And then next week should be much, much more pleasant. We're talking temperatures in the mid-80s for daytime highs and less humidity. So it's going to be a lot more tolerable next week than what we've seen the last month or so. And again, notice these storms, these individual cells out here are continuing to increase both in coverage and in size. So some of these are going to wander over into East Alabama before that main line gets here. I mean, at 10 miles per hour, we're talking probably, what is it, coming up on 6 o'clock. We're probably looking at 9 o'clock tonight before this main line even gets over here into East Alabama. I mean, we've got storms moving in now, but that's out ahead of the main line of storms. Kind of see what's happening. This first piece is sliding off to the east, southeast, and then here comes the main line, and it's building to the east up above this initial push of moisture. So I think we're looking, especially you folks along the I-20 corridor and even down into Talladega, Clay, and Randolph, I think you're looking at a 1-2 punch here. I think you get this complex that's moving into East Alabama now, and then I think you get the main line around 9 o'clock this evening. Hey, Regina Lynn. Woodland, Alabama in the house. Y'all don't forget about the Vern Fest coming up on July 30th. Tickets are now on sale. You can go to... you can find, all you got to do is go to Facebook and search for Vern Fest, and the link will pop up for you. I think Woodland Town Hall also has the Vern Fest tickets on sale if you want to go up there in person and buy the tickets. I will be there. The Dr. Don Road Show will be in Woodland for the Vern Fest. We're going to be giving away T-shirts. We're having a good time, so we want to make sure that everybody's there for the Little Texas Show. Kevin Moon and Callie Knight will also perform for us. I'll be honest with you. I think this is the 14th year, 14th or 15th. I think it's 14th. And this will be my first Vern Fest. I'm looking forward to it. And we hope to see everybody there. We're giving away tickets to go to. And all you have to do is go to the Jamie Dukas website, which is at the top of every one of our primetime forecasts, or call Jamie. His number's at the top of this screen. You see it up there in the banner. And get a cost-free, no-obligation insurance quote. Doesn't cost you a dime, so this could be a win-win for you. You could save money on your insurance, which is very important right now with the economy the way it is. You could save enough money to pay for your tickets if you don't win. But if you do get that cost-free, no-obligation insurance quote, you're going to become eligible to win tickets to go to this year's Vern Fest in our next drawing, which I believe is coming up next Friday. Well, hello, Heather Jordan, watching us from Mickey D's in Ashland, Alabama. Thank you for watching us. Facebook user is watching us between Rock Mills and Roanoke. Dadeville in the house. Hey, Dana. Facebook users, if you have not already done so, there's a link in this chat thread. It's restream.io. And it's for Facebook users. It says Facebook users. Please go to, and then there's the link. Click on that link and give Restream permission to show me your username, so I'll know who you are. Okay, I think we just lost the severe thunderstorm warning for Talladega. Let's go down here and take a look. Yep. Nope. They made it smaller. It's still there. Okay, so their warning, that's probably one of the smallest severe thunderstorm warning polygons I think I've ever seen. They're warning for that area there just north of Sylacauga, basically from the Clay County, Talladega County line back over to 280 and just north of Sylacauga. This polygon is literally 8.6 miles long. And 5 miles wide. I just don't know that I've ever seen that before. But this storm is moving so slow, and I applaud them for doing this, because this storm is moving so slow. There's no point in warning folks way downstream over here in Sylacauga. I'm sorry, over here in Clay County. Even though we know it's going in that direction, it's going to take it maybe another 45 minutes to get over here, let's say, to Millerville. Who knows what the strength will be at that point? So there's no point in putting you under a severe thunderstorm warning for a storm. We don't even know what the strength is going to be by the time it gets there. So kudos to the Weather Service for doing that. So just a very small area there in southern Talladega County, basically from Sylacauga, about 5 miles north up 21, and then about 6 miles west over to 280. We have a severe thunderstorm warning, and the primary threat there is for damaging straight line winds of around 60 miles per hour, and we have trained spotters in that area who have already said they haven't experienced anything like that. So I think the biggest threat here is going to be the very heavy rainfall and that dangerous lightning. Now I'm getting reports of some pretty decent wind in Childersburg. This was earlier. It's not. I'm just looking at some video. Yeah, when that thing first moved into the Childersburg area, had some pretty good wind with it. All right, folks, so this obviously is going to take a long time. There's no point in sitting here all night long and rehashing the same thing over and over and over again. This is a very slow-moving storm system. I think at the end of the day, when all is said and done, the biggest threat from this is going to be torrential rainfall. Some localized flash flooding is certainly possible, and there could be a few pockets of strong straight line winds and some damaging hail as well. The lightning is a big deal here. You see that just in the last 2 minutes, 985 strikes on that frame that you're looking at on your screen. So it's a lightning show out there for sure. So let's, I'm going to step aside. Hey, Lewis Battle. Good to see you, brother. I appreciate those stars, folks. Any time you can send us stars, we greatly appreciate it. It's you know, it's coffee cup money. But if everybody would do that, it would mean a lot. It would add up to a lot. You know, we took a pretty significant lightning strike Thursday afternoon that took out some of our equipment, and it scared me to the point to where I'm going to have to go ahead and get some redundant equipment also. And of course, as you all know, that stuff is very expensive. But I just have a fear of getting hit because the way the geography lays here in northeast Georgia and all the way down into East Alabama, it's very often that we're dealing with severe weather in both locations at the same time. So in an effort to have redundant systems in place, so if that ever happens again, just in a matter of minutes, I can be back up and running instead of what happened the other day. Thank goodness we didn't have severe weather down in East Alabama when it happened up here, because it took out several components. It just took me 48 hours to get replaced and get it back up. So, yeah, if you can send us those Facebook stars, we appreciate it. If you aren't set up to do that, then you can just go to our website at drdonwx.com. There's a donate button, and you can click on that and help us out as well. So I'm going to believe we actually have lost that severe thunderstorm warning now. Yep, we have. So they just canceled the severe thunderstorm warning. But again, very heavy rain continues there north of Sylacauga. And so you see what the deal is, folks. Very heavy rainfall, lightning. This is going to continue probably for most of the night. If we do get another warning, I'll be right back with you. Remember that East Alabama and Central Alabama, a couple of counties in East Alabama, Central and West Alabama remain under a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. this evening. And again, remain weather aware. If we get more severe weather warnings, I'll be right back with you here on Dr. Don's Weather. Y'all have a good evening.